So, my name's Dan Delderfield. Most people know me as Delderz, just because usually there's too many Dans at every football club I've been to. So I'm going to tell you a little story about myself. I've been through many ups and downs. Yes, I come from a sporting background, but even if some of you don't participate in sport, don't like sport, there's a lot of things that I've been through which I'm sure you can relate to. This is my company, Life Step Management. We specialize in personal and career development coaching. We work with a number of individuals at different stages of their lives. One of my passions is working with young people. You know, I can relate to them, I understand what you're going through. I've walked through similar corridors to what you have. So what I'm going to talk about today is the trials and tribulations that I've gone through and some key points in what you can potentially apply to your life when figuring out what you want to do going forward. Can I just have a raise of hands of people who kind of know what kind of industry they want to go into? Whether that be sport, fashion, engineering. Raise their hands. Yeah? Anyone who doesn't know what industry they want to go into, they've got a couple ideas, a couple interests, but they're still exploring. And who's just been dragged along because it's a Saturday morning and your parents have brought you along. Yeah, a couple of you. Either way, what I talk about will relate to all of you and hopefully give you some advice going forward. So, just a little something for you guys. This is a personal blog which I have. It's not free advertising or anything like that. This is something which I want to give back to you. So this is a website. Take it down. Have a look on there. A lot of free content on there. Different skills that you can use to apply to your life, whether it's CV, interview tips, or just figuring out your path. Go on there, have a look. My email's on there as well. I will be doing some question and answers at the end. Come and grab my email. I can grab yours, sign you up to the blog. I've actually got a free 30 or 40 plus page ebook all on kind of personal branding, which I want to give away to you guys. Absolutely free. So make sure you grab that off me or get my details on there. I think that'll be very useful for you guys. Also, while you're here, take a few pictures, tweet me, tweet the Skills Show. Let's get a trend in. They've done a fantastic job. So let's give something back to them. So first of all, what I want you to do, could everyone just fold their arms for me? Put your stuff down, fold your arms. Okay, what I want you to do is now fold them the other way. Do we get there? Just about. It's uncomfortable, right? A little bit awkward. You need to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've been through certain moments which have required me to change as a person. And some of you will have to do that. Change is good. Challenge causes change, and change will change things in your life as well. So if you can start getting comfortable with that and start doing things that you wouldn't usually do, as soon as I started doing that, my life started changing for the better. And trust me, some skills you take away from this, you'll be going back to the people you've already spoken to and doing a lot more different things. So my story. So I grew up playing football to a very high level. I got scouted by a professional football academy at the age of about 13, 14. Was loving it. I was playing teams, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester. Absolutely loving it. At 16, I'll go through this quickly. At 16, we get an option of a scholarship. So we basically get paid to play full-time football in order to try and get a professional contract. My story was a little bit different. It's like an apprenticeship. They allowed me to continue full-time education alongside my professional football career, which means that I wasn't getting paid either, so I had to get a part-time job. So for 2 years, my daily routine was pretty much wake up about 6 a.m. I'd end up going to school. I might go to the gym or something after that. Then I'd go to football training, and then I'd be working in the evening. And then all weekend, I'd be working. So for 2 years, that's what I was doing every single day. Why? Because I had a passion, I had a dream, something that I wanted to achieve. So for 2 years I did that. My dad would wake up with me, he'd take me to school, he'd take me to training, we'd drive down to Cardiff sometimes for football matches. So a lot of sacrifice was made. I only ever wanted to do one thing in my life, and that was to play football. 2 years went on, and I had a meeting with my manager, and he sat in front of me. You know, I played every game, I was captain, I was doing really, really well. And he sat down and said to me, Dan, unfortunately, you've just missed out. Many of you sitting here probably won't understand how that feels. And to be fair, you know, being told no by that person wasn't the biggest failure to me. It was going back to my parents and my dad and saying, all your hard work was for nothing. It took me about 2 months to tell my dad that I didn't make it. Don't cry, trust me, I'm okay. So a very, very hard moment. But what I said to myself is I'm not going to let one moment define my life. So I changed my life around. It was all because of my own attitude and my mindset, which are the things we're going to talk about today. Since that disastrous moment, I've changed my life around. I ended up going to Loughborough University, probably the biggest sporting university in the UK, if not Europe. I ended up graduating from there with 2 degrees. I represented England universities at national and international level. I received Manager's Player of the Year, received 2 scholarships. Amazing experience. And that's because, I wanted to do something with my life. Since coming away from there, I was playing semi-professional football. I had a part-time job for about 7 years, and then I ended up going full-time launching a Ralph Lauren clothing brand in the John Lewis Milton Keynes store. Amazing experience, and you get a few free clothes as well, I might add. Since then, a guy emailed me one day. It was over Christmas time, and he said, Dan, how do you fancy about playing football or soccer in America? And I was like, well, yeah, but I have no idea who you are. We're going to meet down the park tomorrow at 6 a.m. I don't know who this guy is. Ended up finding out he's legit. And about 8 months later, he flew me out on a full scholarship to go and play football in America. North Carolina, 90 degrees heat, every single day, playing football and studying a master's degree. Amazing, amazing experience. Still challenges, being away from family, a lot of things happened out there as well, but an amazing experience. Since coming back from there, I launched my own business, Life Step Management. The reason why I wanted to do this is because I wanted to give back. I've always been confident in helping and motivating individuals such as yourselves. So what my business started up originally to help professional athletes with life after sport. From there, it spun out into working with everyone. We realized that, there's individuals such as yourselves who don't know where they want to go in life. And more importantly, that they don't know how to get there. You might have an idea about who you want to speak to, what type of thing you want to do, but it's that how bit which was missing. And I've been able to do that in my own career, and I want to try and give back to you guys. So hopefully we can talk about some of these aspects right now. The first thing, make notes if you can. If you've got a notepad, and if you haven't, why haven't you? Make some notes. Remember this in your head. Take some pictures. Figure out who you are. What you do will last so long. We live in a world now where people want a job for a couple years, 2 years, 3 years, then they go on to the next one. We have portfolio careers. People are consultants. We live in a different world now to that we did from the Generation X's. Who you are will stay with you a lot longer than what you do. Figure that out first, and then everything else will spiral from there. Your personal brand. What I want you to do is look to the person next to you. I'll give you 5 or 10 seconds. Don't talk, and just look at them. Look at their hair, look at the color of their skin, look at their jackets, look at their shoes, look at their socks. Just for 5 to 10 seconds, just stare at the person next to you. Awkward, right? A little bit awkward. Do we not do that every day, though? Have you not walked around here and seen someone with some crazy hair and go, what the hell are they doing? What is that jacket that they're wearing? And I'm sure people are doing that to you right now. What the hell is that on his head? What is he wearing? You need to figure out what impact you're having on other people. I'm not saying let's judge someone because they're big, because they're small. That person's better because of that reason. But you need to understand what impact you're having on people, because you're going up to potential employers. And if you haven't prepared yourself properly in your appearance, in your voice, in your tongue, then you're not going to get what you want to achieve. So that's important. Don't just go around staring at people, by the way. It's not a nice look. Integrity. One of the most important skills that you can have is integrity. Figure out who you are and stick with it. My friend Festus down here, he'll tell you, 12, 13 years ago, we've been friends. I've been exactly the same person as I was back then, that I am now. There was a moment in school, just a little story I tell you. There was a moment in school where I had the opportunity to go out with some friends, and there was about 4 or 5 of us in a car. And we drove to a parking lot. That's the American accent coming out. We drove to a parking lot, and they pulled out this packet of stuff, and they started smoking it. Obviously, it was drugs. And they said, Delderz, do you want a pull? And I said, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm not into that. But they said, go on, just have it, go on. And I was like, no, seriously. So I got out the car. And, they're probably taking the mick out of me, being like, oh, he's a loser. Come on, get back in, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? And I was like, what's the worst that can happen? So I got back in the car. I got in the car, and just something clicked, and there was a reason why I didn't do it. And I said, you know what, guys, I just can't do it. And I phoned up my dad, and he came pick me up. The very next day at football training, these guys in suits were coming round. And I was like, who the hell are they? And my mate says, oh, they're from the FA doping agency. as a professional athlete, you get randomly tested all year round. This is the first time I've ever seen one. And they were randomly selecting 4 people. By the way, there was only randomly, I say there was 4 people who are trying to get professional contracts. They pulled us into an office, they named 3 people, and the last one was, guess what? Me. Fortunately, to cut the story short, the test came out negative, and I was fine. But the 24 hours before that, I could have made one decision just because I tried to fit in with a friendship group that could have changed my life. I would not be here talking to you today if I did that. I wouldn't have been able to get a job. I wouldn't have been able to go to the educational schools that I went to. And I just wouldn't be where I am today. So think about what's the worst thing that's going to happen. When you get to my stage, you don't just ask what's wrong with it. By all means, do what you want to do. But when you get to my level, you ask what is right with it. It's very different. So, create your own luck. Stop lying to yourself. I say stop lying to yourself because many of us need an incentive in order to do something. You see the image down there. A horse and a carrot. I'm going to ask you to be a carrot. Yeah, I'm asking you to be a carrot in order to be successful. You're like, why are you asking me to be a carrot? Think of the horse and carrot. When you're riding a horse, you put the stick and then you put the carrot at the end, and the horse starts moving as he sees the carrot. Some people need an incentive in order to do something. Some of you are walking around hoping someone grabs you and says, here's your job, here's your dream job. It's never going to happen. You need to be the carrot. You need to go out there and make things happen for yourself. That's why I'm here today. I went out there and made things happen. Be the incentive. Be the reason why people are following you. The most important thing you can see from that image, that horse will never reach that carrot. Because while people are chasing you up, they're already on to the next thing. Have a think about that. Wisdom over information. It's great having information. I could read a textbook and have all this knowledge in my mind, but wisdom is applying that knowledge. So gain the knowledge, read the books, talk to the people, but then go out there and apply it. And what you need to do is position yourself and attract opportunities. I was at university and we were doing employability. Some of you guys probably done employability, most boring subject in the world, but probably the most useful. And we were doing employability, and this girl at the front of the class was always getting better grades than me. And one time I was able to pick up her essay, and some of you people probably realise when you read someone's essay and compare it to yours, you're like, how is this an A and mine's an F? You're like, it's exactly the same. But what I realised is that this girl always sat at the front of the class. When the teacher walked around, she had eye contact. And after class, she stayed behind to do homework. So I was like, maybe I'm missing something here. So what I did is I did the same. So I'd walk in and I'd sit at the front, and my mates would be like, Delderz, what are you doing? Sit at the front? You loser. And I was like, no, so I can't hear. I've got a hearing issue, so I'm going to sit at the front. And as the teacher walked around, I'd just look at her. And every time she said something, I'd give her the gun and the wink, be like, yeah. Yeah. And we started to have a better relationship. She was talking to me here. She was talking to me face to face. And as time went on, I realized that she did triathlon. And one of our summer essays that we had to do was on how we're going to improve our employability. So I said I was going to do a triathlon. No way in hell was I ever going to do a triathlon. You ever seen what those guys do? No way I was going to do that. But I thought, I'm going to say I am, because it's about mental toughness. I'm going to do something which I'm not used to doing. Challenge causes change, etc. I ended up coming out with the first grade result in that course. What I wrote down was probably exactly the same, but you wouldn't call it manipulation, but it's just making the most of your situation. And some of you guys might need to do that here today. Think about how can you leverage your chances of success? How can you be different from the person sitting next to you? We'll try and rally through this so we can get some question and answers in at the end, which we may do at the side. So just to finish off, what you think you become. You need to believe in yourself. Once you figured out who you are and you want to create your own luck, you just need to believe it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, everyone knows who he is. I heard a story that before they go out on stage and before they compete, backstage they'd be pumping up, and he'd go up to his competitors, and his body was pretty much the same as everyone else, but it was his mindset which separated him from everyone else. And he'd go up to people and he'd say, I won't do his voice, by the way, so don't expect me to copy how he talks. And he'd say, is your leg okay? And they'd be like, yeah, my leg's fine. Have you had an injury? Have you not been able to squat? Have you not been able to train? And they'd be like, no, I've been training every single day. And he'd be like, oh, okay. And as soon as he goes, they'd be like looking in the mirror, being like, my leg's really that bad? And what he did is he got in their mind. So when he was on stage, he was out there with his chest out. He walked around. He was positive. He believed in himself. Whereas the other people were so worried about how they, comparing themselves to other people. Oh, am I as good as him? Am I as good as him? It didn't work. And that's why he was as good as he was. Be irreplaceable. A great quote that I found is, what happens because of you? So when you go into an organization, when you're meeting people around here, go and talk to them and say, this is what value I can provide for your company. Because say if you left that company and they just went back to doing what they did on an everyday basis, then you're not providing any value. However, if you go to a company and then leave 2 months later and they just go to mess, what great value that you provide. Be irreplaceable. We'll find out what happens because of you, put that in your CV, get that across during interviews. A quick one on there as well. Does anyone know what an elevator pitch is? Put your hands up. No one's heard an elevator pitch. You need to figure this out now, and you need to go back and apply it straight away. Your elevator pitch. Imagine you're an actor, and you walk into a lift. You go up to the first floor, it opens up. Steven Spielberg walks in, a very famous producer, walks in with you, says, hey, how you doing? Yeah, good, thanks. And you're about to go to the top floor. Probably take about 30, 45 seconds. This is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to impress this person and potentially get a job. This is what you're doing today. When you meet these people, you've probably got about 20, 30 seconds to sell yourself to that person. Figure out your elevator pitch. This is who I am. These are the skills that I have. This is what I'm interested in. This is what value I can provide to you. This is the next steps that I want to happen. Do that, write that down, and go and apply it straight away. Trust me, it will change your life. Network. Everyone says it's not what you know, it's who you know, but you still need to know something. Just because I know a person doesn't mean, I have any information to share with that person. Gain the relevant information and go and network. Go and talk to people. Don't just go up there and say, oh, yeah, I want to get a job. Oh, great, thanks. I'll wait to hear from you. Get their contact details. Go out there, go to the people you've already spoken about and say, sorry, what was your name? What's your number? I'm going to give you a call on Monday just to see what options there are. Here's my CV. I'll send it you again on Monday, and potentially we can have a meeting or a coffee. Make opportunities happen for yourself. You need to go out there and do it. Trust me. And that's pretty much it. So as I said before, come and talk to me. I think we'll go to the side to do some questions and answers because I think the last lady was a little bit late. Go onto my website. If you don't have time, please take my email and give me a shout. Send me across any questions. I'd love to answer them. And like I said, I've got loads of free stuff that I'd love to give you, which will help you on your journey. Thank you so much for listening. You've been brilliant. And take care. Have a good day and make your dreams happen. Thank you.